Welcome, Hilltop Scholars. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me for this explainer. Today, we are going to learn how to put on our detective hats to investigate and actually solve the everyday challenges you face. Because, let's be real, whether you're tuning in right now from Ghana or anywhere else across the continent, we all run into obstacles. You know the ones. Maybe you're struggling to grasp a difficult subject at school, trying to figure out how to balance your daily chores with your homework, or just scraping together enough data to watch your mentorship sessions. Well, stick with me, because today we're going to learn exactly how to tackle those hurdles head-on.
Okay, let's dive right in by anchoring ourselves to one incredibly powerful, yet simple truth. A problem becomes easier to solve when you define it clearly. You see, so often we rush to fix things before we even fully understand what's actually broken. Think about it. A student might throw their hands up and say, "Ugh, I'm just bad at science." But is that really true? When we look closer, maybe they just don't understand one specific topic. Or maybe they are just terrified to ask their teacher for help. Breaking a problem down makes it far less intimidating and way easier to fix.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. What is a problem? 2. Complaining versus problem solving. 3. Symptoms versus real problems. 4. The 6-step solution. 5. Real-life problem solving. And 6. Your turn to solve. So grab your notebooks.
Let's get right into Section 1. What is a problem? Becoming a problem-solving detective.
Simply put, a problem is just a situation where something is not working as it should and action is needed. That's it. So the absolutely crucial thing to remember here is that a problem is not a sign of failure. Let me repeat that because it's so important. Having a problem does not mean you have failed. It's just a signal. Think of it like a flashing light on a car's dashboard. It's just telling you, hey, something in your routine needs a little attention and action. These are things you probably deal with all the time. Maybe you're failing a subject, or you keep running out of data right before a mentorship video. Maybe you sit down with all the right intentions to study, but you get instantly distracted by your phone. Or perhaps you live in a really busy, loud household, and finding a quiet space to read your notes feels literally impossible. Honestly, these are completely normal problems, and the best part? They can all be solved once we properly identify them.
Moving on to Section 2. Complaining versus problem solving. Frustration versus movement.
So complaining usually sounds a bit like this. Man, this is just too hard, or my teacher doesn't explain well, or even I never have any time. But problem solving, that flips those statements into powerful, curious questions. Instead of saying, this is hard, a true problem solver asks, okay, what exactly is hard about this, and what can I do about it? Instead of blaming the teacher, they ask, which specific part do I not understand, and who else can I ask for help? And instead of throwing in the towel with, I have no time, our detective asks, where exactly is my time going?
If you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, please let it be this. Complaining might express your frustration, but problem solving actually creates movement. Complaining just keeps you stuck exactly where you are. Problem solving is what's going to propel you forward towards your Hilltop goals.
All right, Section 3. Symptoms versus real problems. Finding the true culprit.
Think about when you get sick. A fever is just a symptom of a physical illness, right? Well, getting a bad grade is usually just a symptom of a deeper, hidden problem. A symptom is simply the thing you notice first, right there on the surface. But the real problem, that's the deeper cause hiding just underneath.
Let's look at a really familiar scenario. The symptom is, Kofi failed science again. That's the part everyone can plainly see on his report card. But what's the actual real problem? Well, maybe Kofi only studies by reading over his notes instead of actively practicing past questions. Maybe he's too shy or afraid to ask his teacher for help. Or maybe he just waits until the absolute night before the test to start revising. Now here is the catch. If Kofi tries to fix just the symptom, say by promising, I'll try harder next time, without actually changing how he studies or finding that root cause, the bad grades are just going to continue.
Section 4. The 6-step solution. Your detective toolkit.
It is time to equip you with a reliable method. Let's walk through the 6-step problem-solving toolkit. First, name the problem clearly. Second, separate your facts from your feelings. Third, identify the possible causes by asking yourself, why is this happening? What makes it worse? When did it start? Fourth, list out some possible solutions, like asking a teacher for help, practicing past questions, or teaming up with a serious friend. Fifth, choose the single best next step. And finally, step 6, review what happened. Did it actually work? What improved? What should I try next? Let's break a few of these down a bit more.
So for steps 1 and 2, we really have to transform those vague, heavy emotional feelings into clear, objective facts, something we can actually work with. A vague feeling is, I'm just bad at school, or I'm never going to improve. The clear fact is, I struggle to understand word problems in math, or I scored 45% on the last test and I didn't practice past questions. Look, your feelings absolutely matter, but they aren't facts. You can't really solve a vague feeling of being bad at school, but you can 100% solve a lack of practice on math word problems. See the difference?
Now, jumping ahead to step 5, choosing the best next step. This has to be realistic. A week plan is saying, I'm going to study for 5 hours every single day. Sure, it sounds super impressive, but let's be honest with ourselves. You are going to burn out by Tuesday. A much better plan is I will study one difficult topic for 30 minutes after school on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Remember, taking a small, serious step is miles better than making a massive, totally unrealistic promise to yourself.
Section 5. Real-life problem solving. Let's investigate. Let's put this toolkit to work on things you face every week. Say your problem is that you cannot watch your Hilltop mentorship video. We've all been there. What are the possible causes? Well, maybe you're out of data. Maybe the network connection is just terrible right now. Or maybe you waited until the very last minute and your phone battery died. Notice how listing out these specific causes leads us straight to practical solutions. If the cause is a poor network at night, the solution is downloading that video when Wi-Fi is strong, or maybe just watching it earlier in the week.
Let's try another super common one. I keep submitting my homework late. Okay, why? What are the causes? Maybe doing all your chores first leaves you completely exhausted. Or maybe you're spending way too much time scrolling on your phone right after school. So, what's the solution? A fantastic, realistic next step is making a rule for yourself to finish just one single homework question before you even unlock your phone. Or, if possible, tackling your assignments before you start your evening chores while you still have energy. And what about our friends? The problem might be, my friends distract me during study time. Now, the cause isn't that your friends are bad people. The real cause might simply be that you really don't want to feel left out of the conversation. Once you identify that feeling of missing out, you can build a structured plan. The solution? Decide to study for 30 uninterrupted minutes first and promise yourself you'll go join them the second you're done. That way, you protect your academic goals, but you still get to have fun and socialize.
And finally, Section 6. Your turn to solve. Grab your notebooks.
All right, now it is your turn to take charge of the investigation. I want you to literally hit pause on this explainer right now, grab your notebook, choose one problem you are currently facing in school or in your personal routine. Now, write it down in one crystal clear sentence. Remember, no vague complaining allowed. Name the problem clearly. Go ahead, pause the explainer now and do this.
Great job. Now for activity 2. Look at the problem you just wrote down. I want you to pause again, and this time, separate the facts from your feelings. Act like a true detective. Strip away all the frustration, the fear, the stress, and write down only the objective, cold, hard facts of the situation. What is the actual data telling you? Pause again and write those facts down.
As you start to brainstorm the causes and solutions for the facts you just wrote out, I want you to keep this quote firmly in your mind. If you solve the wrong problem, the issue continues. You have to address that root cause you just uncovered, not just the surface-level symptom.
You are well on your way to becoming a master problem solver. So I'll leave you with this final thought for today. Look down at your notes, look at the solutions you're brainstorming right now, ask yourself, what is the single best, most realistic, small step you are going to take today, literally before your head hits the pillow tonight, to create some forward movement? Don't make some huge impossible promise. Just pick one small, serious action. Be a detective, find the root cause, and take that step. Thanks for joining me on this Explainer Scholars. Now, go out there and solve it.